Welcome and hope you're doing well. We're going to talk about the 5 things we learned from Ray Charles for success and reveal those highs and lows, and hopefully it will inspire or even motivate you. My name is Bobby A. Sayed. I am the founder of the Emma Show that was established in 1997. As you'll see from these articles, Ray Charles didn't have an easy life. However, overcame these many challenges, as you will discover. Let's hear from Ray Charles, a great musical legend who honored us by taking time out to accept this Emma honor so that we could honor him. He has helped shape American history and above all, its culture.
Hi everyone, this is Ray Charles, and I want to say what a wonderful honor this is for me. I'm very privileged, particularly to be among such wonderful people with this awards like Muhammad Ali and Nelson Mandela. I mean, this is great company. I mean, I'm just overwhelmed, I have to tell you. This is so good. I want everyone to know I'm so proud and thankful to get this honor. Thank you very much.
Number 1, resilience. Ray Charles Robinson was born on the 23rd September 1930 in Albany, Georgia. Ray had a tough start to life. His father abandoned the family when he was very young and appeared only a few times throughout his life. Ray recalls that even compared to other black families in Greenville, they were at the bottom of the ladder. He was raised by his mother, Aretha Williams, alongside his younger brother, George, and together they tried to build a life in Georgia, a state that has had a long history of racial oppression, especially during this period. This time coincided during the height of the Great Depression, where by 1932 the unemployment rate for African Americans was approximately 50%. Tragedy struck Ray at the age of 5 when he helplessly watched his younger brother George drown in a laundry tub in their garden. Despite his efforts to help, this event haunted Ray for the rest of his life. And although feeling in part responsible for George's death, it is clear that no one can be blamed for such a misfortunate and devastating event. The same year in 1935, Ray began to lose his sight, and by the age of 7, he was completely blind, which was believed to be the result of glaucoma. Childhood glaucoma is a very rare condition. Only 5 in 100,000 children are born with it or develop it at a young age. It was following these tragic events that Ray discovered his passion for music and was able to immerse himself into this art form. His mother sent him to the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind, a racially segregated school where he learned to play the clarinet, trumpet, saxophone and keyboard. He was able to read, write and compose music through the tactile writing system called Braille. At such a young age, Ray was able to play classical piano music, such as the works of Mozart and Beethoven. And by the age of 12, he could arrange and score all parts of a big band. Number 2, passion. Ray's love for music and talent allowed his creativity to blossom, eventually sending him onto the path of success. However, it was far from an easy start for Ray. He had to endure the loss of his mother in 1945, at a time when the US was celebrating the victory of the Second World War. Ray mourned his mother. His father had also passed away 5 years prior to this loss. Her passing came as a big shock to Ray, who was only 15 at the time. He described the death of his mother and brother as the 2 greatest tragedies of his life. He moved to Jacksonville soon after and began working at the Ritz Theater, playing the piano for over a year before touring around Florida with the Rhythm and Blues Band. It's fair to say that Ray was dealt a bad hand from birth, which stretched into his teenage years. The hardship of being blind, poor and living in the southern states of the Jim Crow era led Ray to struggle in his early career. He made the decision to drop his last name, going on to be known as Ray Charles to avoid confusion with the championship boxer Ray Robinson, whilst also picking up the name of Brother Ray by his friends. With ambitions of starting his own band, Ray moved to Seattle, Washington in 1948 and formed the Mexon Trio, who were then noticed by Downbeat Records. They released their first single in 1949, titled Confession Blues, becoming Ray's first single to reach the charts. He relocated once again to Los Angeles, California in 1950, and 2 years later his talent was spotted by Emmett Erdogan, who signed him to Atlantic Records. Emmett, a Turkish man of Muslim belief, showed clear understanding of Ray's situation and upbringing, expressing sympathy for victims of such senseless discrimination. A great friendship was born between the two colleagues, both of diverse backgrounds, a Turkish American and an African American. Ray began producing and composing songs that found success between 1952 and 1959, including It Must Be Jesus, reaching number 2 in the R&B charts, and What I Say, achieving the number 1 spot. With the combined talent of Ray, Atlantic Records became the most consistently successful New York City-based independent label of the 1950s. Number 3. Self-Esteem. This decade saw Ray reach 2 great achievements. In 1954, he became one of the first pioneers of soul music, combining blues rhythm and gospel to create a new musical genre. He was nicknamed the Genius and the Father of Soul, never working in one format, but blending a mixture of styles, which brought him international appeal. Secondly, Ray was successfully able to cross over into pop music, becoming one of the few black artists to do this. He achieved a number 6 spot on the pop charts for What I Say, and the Rolling Stones considered it the 10th best ever song on their list of 500 greatest songs of all time. In terms of Ray's personal life, he married Della Beatrice Howard in 1955. Their marriage lasted for 22 years, fathering 3 children together, but Ray also had many children with other women. The breakdown of the marriage unfortunately stemmed from Ray's battles with drug addiction, resulting in a divorce in 1977. It was at the age of 18, whilst trying to come to terms with the troubled past, that Ray was first introduced to heroin. A series of drug-related arrests led Ray on the path of recovery. He entered rehab in 1965 and was able to come clean within 3 months. Ray released Crying Times in 1966, his first album since completing rehab, made with the experience of fighting his drug addiction in mind. In 1959, Ray signed with ABC Paramount and helped to bring country music back to a mainstream audience with the release of the album Modern Sounds in Country and Western Music, as well as a follow-up album. Both broke the boundaries of musical convention, with the first album selling 700,000 copies upon the first month of release. The album featured Ray's best-selling song, I Can't Stop Loving You, which remained at the number 1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100 for 5 weeks. It was in 1977 that Ray re-signed with Atlantic Records and was reunited with his good friend, Emmett Erdogan. Their partnership is a great display of 2 individuals of multicultural backgrounds achieving success despite the mass forms of prejudice and discrimination that ethnic minorities faced at the time. Emmett referred to Ray as one of the most important people in the history and development of Atlantic Records. Number 4. Compassion. Over the years, Ray engaged with a variety of civil rights causes. Under his own record label, he released the 1972 album A Message from the People that included songs seeking to tackle issues surrounding civil rights and poverty. He became a friend and financial backer of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., carrying out concerts in an effort to raise money for him and his cause. Ray's own experience of racism and growing up in a segregated America led to him refusing to perform in front of a segregated audience back in 1961. His stand against segregation in this instant was met with little social impact, but Ray never performed in front of a segregated audience again after 1963. For an astonishing career, Ray was deservedly met with an array of awards and achievements over the years. To list a few, at the age of 45, he was presented with the Golden Plate Award by the American Academy of Achievements, joining celebrities such as Stevie Wonder, Clint Eastwood, and Maya Angelou in this list. In 1979, the state of Georgia made Ray's song, Georgia on My Mind, its state song. The state using an African-American song for their anthem signifies a newly acceptance towards ethnic minorities across the US and around the world. Number 5. Humble. Ray was one of the first inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1986 and was later also inducted into the Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame in 2015. We can't forget to mention his incredible reception from the Grammy Awards throughout his career. He received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 1987 and won a total of 17 Grammys. The 2005 Grammy Awards were even dedicated to Ray after his death. His hard work and talent brought Ray arguably one of the biggest achievements in the Presidential Medal for Arts in 1993, awarded to him by President Bill Clinton. And finally, in 2002, we at Emma awarded Ray with a Lifetime Achievement Award. Beyond the fame and fortune, Ray invested his money into causes seeking to bring about positive change. He set up the Ray Charles Foundation in 1986, supporting institutions and organizations in the research of hearing disorders. He chose this as his foundation's main cause, as Ray stated his loss of sight never handicapped him in life, yet his inability to hear would have. As well as this, in the year 2000, he contributed a $2,000 package to fund the music scholarship at Wilberforce University in Ohio. And in 2001, he donated another $1 million to Morehouse College in Atlanta. It was in 2004 when Ray Charles sadly passed away as a result of liver failure in Beverly Hills, California. His old friend and colleague Quincy Jones made the following statement after his death: "There will never be another musician who did as much to break down the perceived walls of musical genres." His final album, Genius Loves Company, was released 2 months after his death, winning 8 Grammy Awards. Ray will be remembered for his incredible musical ability and the passion he had for his work, but more importantly, as an icon for future generations who can admire the journey he has taken despite all the odds he has faced. In summary, Ray's big break came from Atlantic Records and his friendship with Emmett Erdogan, who stated that Ray was the most talented musician he had ever worked with, praising him as being deeply tied to Atlantic's history. The irony here is that, as an American Muslim, a small minority was instrumental in changing the American culture through the music that shaped it. However, Islamophobia is so ripe in the US, as many American Muslims are victims of racism, not too dissimilar with what the African Americans had experienced, so can sympathize with these ongoing issues. Why don't you leave us a comment and share your thoughts about Ray Charles? How do you think he changed the world? And is he a one-of-a-lifetime genius? What was it in this story of his life that inspired you the most? And has his music connected with you? Would really appreciate a like or even a subscribe. And if possible, please donate on Patreon, however little the amount, to support this channel's ongoing mission to undertake multicultural campaigns. And remember, it's what's inside that counts, a motto we have used at the Emmas. As Ray Charles has proven, your disability is another hurdle to overcome, so you can go on and change the world. Even though he couldn't technically see, he was still able to see better than most of us with our so-called 20/20 vision. So until next time, thank you for watching and keep it multicultural.